So let's take a look at our predictions for week 2 of the college football season. We'll begin with an upset pick. I think Ohio at Purdue was one game I really considered. The Bobcats of Ohio are the preseason MAC East favorite. They do have to go to West Lafayette. Purdue looked good against Louisville. They didn't get the win. Kind of scared me off this one just a little bit. Instead, I'm going to go with South Carolina visiting Columbia, Missouri. As a 2-point underdog, I think South Carolina goes on the road and wins. South Carolina, a much more balanced team. Missouri, a really, really good offense, I think, but the defense might be lagging behind a bit. They didn't look great defensively against Missouri State. No reason to think they'll do much better against South Carolina. Moving on to our predictions of the week, a loaded week on the college football. Let's get right to it. We'll start with Louisville at North Carolina. The Cardinals go in the Chapel Hill a 10-point road favorite. Louisville by 11 in my mind. Lamar Jackson looked good against Purdue. North Carolina looked awful against Cal. That's all there is to it. Iowa visits Ames to play Iowa State. The Hawkeyes a 3-point road favorite. I have Iowa winning this game by a touchdown. The Iowa defense kept Wyoming and Josh Allen in check. They'll probably do the same to Iowa State. The Iowa defense and the Hawkeyes by a touchdown in Ames. The next big game I have Northwestern at Duke. The Wildcats at Northwestern a 3-point road favorite. A battle of kind of underrated quarterbacks. You have Clay Thorson at Northwestern, Daniel Jones at Duke. I like the Northwestern 1-2 punch in the backfield. Clay Thorson at quarterback, Justin Jackson at running back. I think Northwestern goes into Durham and wins this one by a touchdown. Next big game, Penn State hosts Pittsburgh. Penn State a 22-point home favorite in this rivalry game that was kind of surprising to see. You have Penn State look terrific against Akron, though. Pittsburgh struggled mightily at times against Youngstown State. I think Penn State wins this one at home by 20. They do not get 22. I think Penn State by 20 at home. Next big game, Oregon hosting Nebraska. The Ducks a 13.5-point favorite. Last year, this game was a close, competitive one. Oregon went for two many times and kept failing, but they kept going and kept failing. Nebraska, a narrow win. Those 2-point conversion failures were the difference a year ago. Oregon at home, a better team. I have Oregon winning this one by 4 or 5 points in a competitive, high-scoring shootout. They do not win this one, though, by 13. The next big one, I have TCU at Arkansas. The Horned Frogs come in a 3-point road favorite. Kind of a pick'em game in my eyes. You have Gary Patterson for the Horned Frogs as head coach, Brett Bielema at Arkansas. Quarterback seems kind of equal coming into this one. You have Kenny Hill, Austin Allen. If I had to pick one to put my pick on, though, it'd be Gary Patterson and this Horned Frogs team. A lot to prove after disappointing a year ago. TCU on the road. I think they beat Arkansas by 4. The next big matchup, one to look at, is going to be Utah and BYU. The Utes come in a 1.5-point road favorite. Utah, a lot of talent, I think, on that defensive side of the ball. BYU has not looked great in either of their 2 opening games, whether it's Portland State or LSU. Utah has dominated this rivalry since coming to the Pac-12. I think we'll see more of the same. Utah wins by 10 in Provo. Next one up, Boise State in Pullman to play Washington State. I like the Broncos with Brett Rypien at quarterback, but a lot of questions still in this defense. They lost quite a few starters from a year ago's team. Washington State, of course, returns Luke Falk. That's not a team you want to play when your defense is not quite locked in stone as a terrific unit. I think Washington State wins, but they do not cover. I think Washington State only wins this one by 8. Moving on to the 4 or 5 huge ones in college football this weekend. Georgia at Notre Dame. Notre Dame a 4-point home favorite. Brandon Wimbush looked good against Temple. Didn't look like a type of quarterback, though, who's flawless. I think Georgia can get into him a little bit, hit him a little bit, will force a couple of mistakes. I think that plays a big factor. The Georgia defense, no Jacob Eason. I think Georgia will be okay, though. Georgia goes in the South Bend and wins by 4. USC hosts Stanford. The Trojans are 6.5-point, or 6-point. The line has changed. They're 6-point home favorites against the Cardinal. This is a fascinating matchup if you're looking at the X's and O's of football. Stanford, a run-oriented offense. USC struggled with stopping the run against Western Michigan. Keep in mind, USC trying to figure out the defensive line rotation. They lost Stevie T to graduation. He was a key part of that line a year ago. Western Michigan took advantage of it. I think Stanford runs successfully against the Trojans. Stanford's probably going to be up late in this one. I have them up 3 late in the game. Sam Darnold gets the football, leads the Trojans on a late drive. USC wins this one by 4. A game-winning drive by Sam Darnold. but they do not cover. Next one up, Auburn at Clemson, a battle of Tigers. Clemson goes into this one a 5-point home favorite. I think that's pretty much right in line. Kelly Bryant looked good against Kent State. This is, though, Auburn, not Kent State now. The Clemson defense, I think, makes a play late. They make a late stand against Jarrett Stidham and Auburn. Clemson preserves a 6-point home win in Death Valley. Now to the game of the week, the big one. Oklahoma and Ohio State. Oklahoma visits Columbus. Remember last year, Ohio State humiliated Oklahoma in Norman in front of their home fans. That's in the back of the mind of Baker Mayfield and Lincoln Riley, I think, as we move into this one. The difference here for me in this game, Baker Mayfield can beat you with his arm and his leg, something Richard Lego could not do a week ago against this Buckeye defense. The dual threat ability of Mayfield, in my opinion, is going to be what spurs Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma going into Columbus behind a motivated Baker Mayfield and knocking off the Buckeyes by 4.